This is the complete book to drawing human figures from life. A lot of excellent sections in here. Just going through it real quick. He gives away a lot of clues on how to tackle some of these issues of drawing the human body. It's a wonderful reference book, but eventually you gotta put it down. So, this one I was working on before. We'll go back to that one later. So when you start off, notice I'm in landscape mode. It's good to put a line down. This gives the piece a little gravity. And sometimes we like to even have a circle in the background, whatever. It's just one of those tools that you can use. Voila. Beautiful. And maybe we want some figures running. Again, I like to have figures kind of on a slant. Gives the figures a little more oomph. Notice I'm very loose. No reference here. Maybe have another figure behind. Trying to catch up. That's a very preliminary sketch that I can go back into. If you notice, I'm using the New York Edge pencils. Why? Because that's generally what the kids are going to be using. And they see me using fancy stuff, and they don't have the fancy stuff. Then they're going, wait a minute. So I'm going to go back into that figure we started off with. And a rib cage. And you can really exaggerate this slant. And I always like to have a neck that I can put the head on top of. Again, very general. Nothing is too etched in stone. So you notice I'm not really getting into a lot of detail per se. That kind of just happens a little bit later on. I just want to get some action. Yeah, it's good to draw people sitting still, practically doing nothing. But most of us move. And if you want to get into comics, the figures have got to leap out of the page and practically grab you. And I can change the head angle. Need an eraser, always necessary. Some people like to draw with a blue pencil or a red pencil, or lightly, then go back into it. And again, you can change the angle. If we want the head looking up a little, then we just change that. We have that little thing here. And back in a little more. And the first figure kind of sets up the standard. And if you're doing a strip or a graphic novel, you may want to do some character designs of your characters so they look like a character throughout the story. And again, this might be too tight, I might loosen it up a bit. This character here, do a little head. Sometimes I like to show more of the back. And different perspective there. Now, what I recommend, if you don't have a model, either take a picture of yourself or a friend or relative and use that as a reference. Many of the great illustrators used a lot of references. You want to get the color right, the lighting right, the gesture, everything. But still, you gotta draw it. And you gotta make it yours. And maybe we'll have this one back here. I gotta shrink that head down a little. So I kind of have that figure going. Now I'm gonna go to the third figure. sometimes with this figure, this one here, this one's kind of disappearing a little bit behind these other two bodies. Maybe I can even have his foot really stretched out over here. It's kind of exaggerated, but and there you go. And I can put that away for a couple of weeks, a day or two, and I can go back to this one. This one's a little more finalized. And everyone has kind of like their signature type thing. I kind of like clouds. It's kind of like a landscape, and you know, this is almost like Night of the Living Dead type thing. So you guys that want to illustrate or draw, it's not a bad idea to have one or two influences. So that's kind of it for now. And I'll probably be, trying to do some other classes. But this figure here was just really kind of a rectangle and then chiseled out. I also love folds. You can really get some oomph out of that. And don't be afraid to go back into it. I don't mind. There you go. Looks much better. Okay, I think that's it.